Hello, hello, peace and blessings, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Stanley Andrisse. I've been invited to share a few words with you from the Office of Correctional Medicine. It is such a pleasure. A little bit about myself and what I think relates to why they've liked me to share some words with you. It wasn't too long ago that I was in your seat, so I am a formerly incarcerated person with 3 felony convictions. I was sentenced to 10 years in prison as a prior and persistent career criminal. I actually had a prosecutor looking at 20 years to life in prison because she felt that I had no hope for changing the decisions that I had been making up until that time in my early 20s. Fast forward some time, I did my time, and I'm now Dr. Stanley Andrisse, an endocrinologist, scientist, and assistant professor at Howard University College of Medicine. Howard University is an HBCU, historically Black college and university. It is the #1 producer of Black and brown scientists and physicians in our country, so I'm proud to be a member and faculty at Howard University. Before I was at Howard University, I was at a place called Johns Hopkins Medicine. Johns Hopkins is the #1 funded research institution in our country and possibly the world, I believe. In addition to that, I also hold a visiting faculty position at a place called Georgetown Medicine. Took my hustle across seas to a place called Imperial College London, which is an Ivy League caliber school in the United Kingdom. So I say all that to say that I didn't quite live up to that expectation that this prosecutor had on this young Black boy those many years ago when she painted this picture of me as this dangerous threat to society that needed to spend the rest of my life behind bars. I am from the Ferguson, Missouri area in St. Louis. Growing up in that area, I made a number of poor decisions at a very young age. I got caught up in the legal system at just 15. I started selling drugs before I was even a teenager. I continued to make those poor decisions to the point of getting deeper into the criminal legal system and sitting in front of a judge in my early 20s, as I was mentioning, facing 20 years to life in prison as a prior and persistent career criminal. So I was hit with the 3 strikes law of Missouri, the career criminal status. And what that basically did was, although, prior to being sentenced in that way, I was looking at 5 to 15 years, being that it was my 3rd felony conviction, 3rd separate felony conviction. The prosecutor was able to sentence me in that way. And so it changed my sentence from 5 to 15 to 10 to life. And the prosecutor was pushing for life. Again, because she felt that this young Black boy from Ferguson needed to be locked in a cage for the rest of his life. Sitting in the courtroom, I felt as if I was in this out-of-body experience, and then hearing the judge come down with this 10-year sentence, it was just this devastating blow. Often share with folks that I asked the judge if I can go hug my mother. My family and I are Haitian immigrants. I'm the youngest of 5. My mother was in the back of the courtroom bawling in tears. Despite being from Ferguson, a predominantly Black area, as a Haitian immigrant family, we felt like we was all we got. So, she's losing her youngest son, bawling in tears, asked the judge if I could go give her a hug. And the judge denied me the opportunity to go give my mother a hug and ordered the bailiffs to come shackle my feet, handcuff my hands, and take me to start my 10-year sentence. I share that with folks just because before that moment, I had been in and out of courtrooms many times, but I felt that there was, I had this sense that there was justice in the justice system. But what I learned is that, there's justice for some and injustice for others. I thought there was respect and civility in the system, but I learned that there's respect and civility for some and dehumanization for others. And so I went into my sentence very much feeling as if I was going to be in this revolving door of incarceration. I was fortunate enough to have this mentor step into my life that saw me using my skills and talents differently, started investing in my potential. That tied with, I ended up losing my father over the course of about 2 years, multiple surgeries and hospitalizations while I was inside. I lost him to his battle with type 2 diabetes. And this mentor provided me my first scientific article on diabetes. And, you know, many of you may not be familiar with reading scientific articles, but it's very, like, every other word is something you've never heard of before. So as you know, I can't Google or WebMD or look anything up. So it would take me months and months to read through these articles. But what it did for me, although my body was physically locked in this prison cell, my mind was freely roaming around the human cell. And in that way, I was actually free. My mind was free from incarceration years before my physical body was free from incarceration. And, you know, that really helped me see myself differently. I started moving differently. When I first got down, I was really just thinking about how can I be a better drug dealer? How can I, you know, use the system, because that's what they told me I was. And that's, you know, I was told that I was going to be in this revolving door. So I was like, well, this is what I got to do. But, you know, this mentor and this experience of losing my father and diving into learning about medicine and diabetes really was this change, this epiphany moment for me. The help of this mentor and others, he encouraged me to continue my education. I put a number of applications together. College and prison was not a thing when I was in prison. I couldn't go while I was in. So I put a bunch of applications to continue my education when I got out. Just rejection after rejection after rejection. I got rejected from every single place except for St. Louis University, where this mentor was on the admissions committee. I got into St. Louis University. I completed my PhD and MBA simultaneously at the top of my class in just 4 years, and then moved on to those places that I mentioned, like Johns Hopkins, the Mecca, Howard University, Georgetown, and so forth. And then eventually along that journey, I ended up co-founding a nonprofit organization that's called From Prison Cells to PhD. It also shares the same name as the book that I have here, From Prison Cells to PhD. It is never too late to do good. This was a result of when I finally went through that epiphany moment when I was on the inside. I had some friends that I was, you know, walking the yard with, and just, you know, were the friends that I was hanging out with. I would tell them, like, man, this like mentor really got me. I think I want to, you know, I think I'm gonna be a doctor when I get out. And my homeboy would just be like, what the F you talking about, man? Like, you know where we at? We at a maximum security prison at that particular time, and he thought it was crazy. But as I went through and eventually, you know, got in and I got out, got into this program, I started helping them do that and get into education and use education as this transformative tool. Having done that, when I got out, I helped a couple of other brothers who were still in transition out and get into education and use education as this transformative tool of healing. Much, you know, it wasn't even really about getting a credential or a degree behind your name. It was really about proving to yourself, and others, your family, the community, that you can be something different than what you've been labeled as. And so that was our idea, is just to have education be this vehicle to help people change and heal. We were successful with a couple of brothers, and you know, 7 years ago, we decided to start the organization. We've now helped, you know, thousands of individuals all across the country use education as this transformative tool of healing and putting their lives back together, both while they're still incarcerated and post-incarceration.